Hello, here we are together with Marie Grace Brook. Nice to have you here again.
Thank you, Ligia. It's wonderful to be here.
Yes, you were with us last year in our event, Rethinking Matters event from last year was online. And this year we have this new model online and in person. So we really would like to know a little bit more, an update from you with the Spiritual Emergency Anonymous. How are things going in your end? We had the opportunity to know a little bit about your story before. So maybe you just introduce yourself and feel free to tell us about what's happening out there at this point.
Okay, thank you. It is nice to be back, and it's been really wonderful that your group in Brazil has been doing one of the groups in Portuguese of the Spiritual Emergence Anonymous groups that meet live Zoom weekly. We're actually doing the same two groups that we were doing last year, I believe. One meets early in the Americas, which then can make it available to people in Australia and Asia. And then we do one, have I got this reversed? Late in the evening here, which makes it available to people in Europe. So that way we kind of try to make it available to anyone, no matter where they are in the world. Those are the English speaking ones. And it's been, I think what I'll do, since I did focus more on my own personal journey last time, I'll do a quick summary, which is that when I was 25 years old, which is about 45 years ago, I had a spiritual awakening that was super powerful from just sitting and meditating with no guidance, that threw me kind of not able to function in the world for about 4 years. And all I wanted to do was sit in a cabin and just be with all these amazing experiences that were happening internally. But after a year, I didn't have enough money to do that, sit on the mountain version. So I tried to integrate into society, and it was a painful experience. And at that time, there were no words like spiritual emergence or Kundalini or spiritual awakenings or spiritually transformative experiences. None of these words were in the English language at that time. So the experience was so powerfully difficult for me that it just became kind of a lifelong desire to help other people go through that, because I was attracted to other people that went through these kinds of things. And I ran into them a lot until I got my PhD and got the exciting chance to actually study it to see what I could do to help the rest of the world understand what's going on for people that have these experiences that are so spiritual and intense that they can't easily integrate back into their lives. So that was one of the ways I did this, was by joining a group that was trying to train professionals, but we all saw a great need for the actual people going through it. How to do it was the question. And although ideas came up, and there's a lot going on as far as organizations offering groups to support groups, is that often these people don't have any money. I didn't have any money. Many of them are homeless, at least during the most intense times of their spiritual experiences. They don't care about money because their spiritual life is so rich and full, and or they are so confused and overwhelmed by the schism between the way this world functions and the way the spiritual world suddenly makes itself known to them, that they can't really function well. Combination of both. So it seemed to me most urgent, and other people that I was with, that something could be offered that was free of charge. And so the 12-step model really made sense, because it perpetuates itself. It gives people a safe place to be. There is no charge, and there's a place immediately for people to start helping other people, because just being in a group like this, everyone benefits. When each person tells their story, other people benefit by hearing it. They don't feel so alone, and they that feeling of companionship goes a long way toward what they need. So I was very excited that Ligia and Sean approached me, that they were already doing this down here in Brazil in Portuguese. And we had already worked with people in France, getting our version of the 12 steps translated to French. And then again, did it with some people in Serbia, getting it translated into Serbian. So it was just one, not a big challenge to do the same thing, and also then help support the Brazil group to have its weekly meetings. Everything's done through Zoom. And so the beginning was about, it was 2017, just this group of people that said, we really want to help others. The first group were people who had been through it for several years and been through some hard times, but also managed to get integrated into society. But we were very, very acquainted with the challenges. So we knew that we could help people. And that's when we began to adapt the 12 steps that are used for addictions to now be used for people who already had the spiritual awakenings. And they were just trying to go through the spiritual transformation of getting stable and clear with this incredible opportunity we have to live on this planet with also a foot in the other world, so to speak.
Yes, I was going to ask you maybe if you can bring a little bit about what you see from here on. What are you feeling with these groups, where things are going, so we can help even more people?
Well, that's a good question. One thing is that we go by the 12 traditions, which says no promotion. And we also, just because we feel like what we want most of all, it's not just like our goal is to reach everybody. Our goal is to keep ourselves fully in touch with divine guidance. And so we let people come to us. So we don't do advertising, we don't promote. What few associations we have are very minimal. For instance, we did just this last year join with ASI, which is Association for Spiritual Integrity, which is, it's not an organization that promotes helping. It's an organization that kind of oversees and helps people who are helping people spiritually to stay aligned and have integrity themselves and not get sidetracked into egotistical things. So we did join them, but otherwise we are just mostly trying to do what works for us, and then people just come to us. And a lot of the time they don't even know how they get to us. We usually ask, and they'll just be like, I don't know, I was just looking on the internet, and they end up coming to meetings and talking and sharing. What I want to say is that we have a script that's right on the website. So we just, whoever shows up, someone just becomes like the leader for the night. It's a very simple script. It involves the serenity prayer and just some summaries of how to run a meeting. And we just trust that people show up, and they do. They just show up. And I would say the changes that are going on have a rhythm to them, which is that the service board, which is just a few people, varies between 3 and 5 people that come regularly to just meet and oversee and make sure everything's going smoothly. We take in suggestions from people, both how we can refine the meetings, but also the literature, to keep the literature really up to date so that it speaks to the present time, to people now who are looking in this year. And so every year or two, we revise just little parts. We just revise little parts of the 12 steps, or maybe the 12 promises, or maybe the 12 concepts, or maybe the way we run things a little bit, to keep it fresh and to keep it updated. And so what we're doing is we're trying to refine the website to make it so that anybody can do this. Anybody who comes in can actually even just go to the website, start their own meetings at a time that works for them, with our support, with both the support of the service board and the support of all the people involved because you can come to the other meetings, but it's kind of like almost like a do-it-yourself starter group situation. And we feel like the more we're able to refine the website, people are getting more and more acquainted with how to do this. And we don't want huge groups anyway. It's not like we want to keep multiplying the people in a group. We want people to feel like they can just start their own groups and then we can list what time, and then people will show up just like they're doing now. They just show up. Some people come and go, some stay and come regularly, and then some start to take some leadership roles. That answer your question about where we're going. This is kind of our style, low-key, grassroots, no cost, and people, we have more money in the coffer every year. We don't take a lot of money to operate it, but people just contribute. And so we don't have to worry about money.
Yeah, that's what we do in Repensando, Loucura, Rethinking Madness meeting, that we were able to do a lot, because like you said, it's quite very similar what we have been doing, right? Not so much in the 12 steps, but the sharing the experiences. But so maybe if you could just briefly, so do you feel these people, they follow the 12 steps in the sequence, or they come and go? They kind of, how do you feel their participation?
Well, what we have found is people value the 12 steps a lot. Actually, a lot of the people that come are acquainted with the 12 steps, and sometimes that's the attraction because they trust the 12 steps already. And in their past, they have a history of some kind of addiction that brought them to the 12 steps, went through them, maybe got to that 12th step, which the 12th step in the addiction process is you have a spiritual awakening. And I've heard several people say, but then they don't say what to do after that. Like for those of them that have strong awakenings, there's no kind of map. You just go back and you help other people who are trying to get over the addiction. So we have a lot of people with a lot of trust in the 12 steps. We have people who don't know about the 12 steps. And some people come and they listen, they learn, because even just reading through the 12 steps opens your mind tremendously, but they don't even necessarily get involved in the 12 steps. They identify more with just what happens in the meetings, the interaction between people. So there is no pressure necessarily that you have to do the 12 steps. There's no big award system or anything like that. And then people just figure that out on their own, what works for them. Because as you know, the kind of people that are on this kind of journey don't need the same kind of guidance as people do in other areas. Often they need to find out that they have more faith in themselves. They've maybe been led astray by the medical profession or led astray by worrying about how other people are reacting. They've started to doubt themselves. And so a lot of the healing that goes on is finding out that we each individually know what is best for us. And we've been given this incredible gift, and we just have to figure out how to use it and not get overwhelmed by the challenges. And so therefore we honor that very much, the individual routes that people take.
And
that answer that question?
Yes, then this is, I guess, because we are kind of in short in time, and maybe this take us to this last, maybe brief comment from your side. What do you think? Do you think it would be like people who are going through a crisis right now, or are discovering this right now? What do you think would be like an advice, or maybe like a direction? Because many of them, they feel very lost. Like even though they come to us, they find us, but they are still trying to make sense of their own experiences. So maybe in your last message here for people who are listening, what would you say from your experience?
Well, I think I would say that it seems to be part of this awakening experience that a certain amount of it we do go through alone, and it is scary. And to not get tripped up by that, and to not feel like just because we're suffering or we're feeling alone that there's something wrong. I think somehow in a divine way, it builds some inner character. So when we go to these meetings and we find out we're not alone, we also realize everybody feels alone. Or when we go to these meetings and we feel like there is no exact way out of this, and why aren't things working? And we realize, oh, that's part of the process. It's awkward. It involves some suffering, and that's okay. It's still a very, very great gift, what we're being given.
Wonderful.
Is
And
that
this is
helpful?
really, yes, and it messes us up because nowadays everything has to be so fast. It has to happen and to get us somewhere better than whatever we are because we feel we can be better. But this being better is a process. We become better every day. We are evolving, and somehow maybe this calling that bring us here, and even this big event we are organizing here in Brazil, it's a path. It's not a place where we will arrive, but it's a process, it's a path. And it's nice to meet people that share the same ideas and feelings. So thank you, Mary Grace. Would you like to say last words, maybe?
Yes, I would like to say last words. I do think that it's important to know that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and that people go through these processes, they get discombobulated, they cannot function, but if they stick with it and find that divine discernment that needs to be developed, there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and it is very bright because we do get to then live in a graceful way on this planet with access to the spiritual world too. So I just want to say it is a tunnel
Wonderful.
and there is a light at the end.
Mhm,
And it's okay to be in the
exactly.
tunnel as long as you need to.
It's true, but amazing talking to you, and I'm sure you have other opportunities. So at this point, I'll say thank you and goodbye until next time.
Thank you so much. So lovely to be with you. Take
Bye
care.
bye.
Blessings.
Thank you for being with
Bye.
us.
Mm.